Einen wunderschönen guten Tag zusammen. This video is to help you understand the present tense in German a bit more. So you can see it's all about things that are happening at the moment or which are happening now. So what actually is the present tense? We use the present tense to express something that happens regularly. So for example, if you want to say I read every day, ich lese jeden Tag. Or what do you learn at school? Was lernst du in der Schule? Or we also use the present tense to express something that is happening right now. So if you want to say, for example, I'm reading, ich lese, or what are you learning in German? Was lernst du in Deutsch? So in English, you may have noticed that you can either say I read or I am reading. In German, you only use one word for the verb in the present tense. So if you want to say I read or I'm reading, you will say ich lese. So you have to remember that there's only one word in German for I read or I am reading. There's nothing as such, ich bin lese. It does not exist in German. If you want to say I read or I am reading, you say ich lese. So what actually is an infinitive? So on here, over here, you see three different words. You see words gehen, hören. So gehen means to go, hören means to listen. So an infinitive is the form of the verb that you actually find in the dictionary. So maybe in end of unit tests or in controlled assessments, you're allowed to use dictionaries. So if you look up a verb, this will be the kind of verb that will come up. It's the infinitive. In German, they usually end in an en, sometimes just in an n, and this could be translated as to in English. So for example, to go means gehen. So in English, you've got the to right here. In German, you've got the en at the end. So what actually is a verb? A verb is a word representing an action. So for example, I play, you make, you do, or a state. So we have, they are, I am becoming, and so on. So the words you need to remember are what is an infinitive, and you need to remember what a stem is and what endings you need to add. We're going to look at those last two things, a stem and endings, just in a minute. So a stem is the stem of a regular verb is simply the infinitive form, and you get rid of the en. So say, for example, you want to say to play, it's spielen. What I've done already over here is I took off the en, so spiel would be the stem of the verb spielen, to play. Now we also need to look at the endings because it's quite different. In English, you don't necessarily have the endings like we do in German. So in German, endings are added to the stem of the verb, and the same set of endings is used for all of the verbs. So endings can change according to the subject, so the person or the thing who does the action, the person or the thing you're talking about. So these are the pronouns, so the words I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. You can see them over here. So ich, du, sie, es, wir, ihr, sie. Now you may notice there's one z spelled with a capital and one z spelled with a lowercase. So if you spell z with a capital, then you're talking in a polite form. So if you're talking to a person that you may not necessarily know, you will use that form. Now we go through the endings. So the endings in German are as follows, as you can see over here. For I, it's e. For you, it's an st. For he, she, it, t. For we, it's an en. For you, it's a t. And for they, it's an en. Now, a word or a sentence that you can remember to help you understand and remember those endings is every strong tiger enjoys talking English. Now, I've highlighted the different endings in red. So these are the starting letters of each word. So this could be a way to remember the regular verb endings. I emphasize the fact it's regular. So actually, it's quite simple. So you may want to try out what you have just learned. So you may want to pause the video right now because I'm going to reveal the answers in a second. So you've got different verbs over here. You've got the different pronouns over here. Now it's over to you to add the different verb endings. I've given you an example. Tanzen means to dance. If you want to say I dance, ich tanze. So pause the video and then go through the answers. So here are the answers. I'm just going to reveal them over here, so you may want to compare the answers right here. These are all, as I said, regular verbs. They follow the same pattern as we just looked at. Now, why do I emphasize the fact regular verbs? Because some of the verbs, they don't actually follow the pattern that I've just explained to you. So they are irregular verbs. So some verbs that don't follow the same pattern because they are irregular. So for example, the verb to be is an irregular verb in English as well as in German. You would not say in English, I be, you be, he, she, it be. It's wrong. You would say I am, you are, he, she, it is. So verbs such as lesen, sehen, fahren, they are all irregular verbs in German. So what happens to them? So if you want to say you to read or to watch or to see, they change the form in the you and the he, she, it form in the singular version. So in the second and third person singular, the verb adds an I in front of the vowel, as you can see over here. I've emphasized it in red. So you may want to try out your knowledge just now. You may again want to pause the video. Remember, you get house points if I see evidence of this in your exercise books. So how would you say he watches a film? You'd say sieht einen Film. My mother is reading the newspaper. Meine Mutter liest die Zeitung. And Anna, which book are you reading? We'd say Anna, welches Buch liest du? Now also, there are some verbs that are called separable verbs. So what do we understand by this? Separable verbs are those that include both a verb and a prefix. So in English, examples are I get up, ich stehe auf, or I wash up, ich wasche ab. So they consist of two different parts of it. Now, there are 4 different steps you have to follow when you want to apply and use separable verbs in German. So they usually follow this regular present tense rules. So remember what we looked at the start of this video? This is what they follow. Then you have to remember to take the prefix and put it at the end. So the prefix is the first part. So I wash up, ich wasche ab. How do we get to that sentence? So first we look up in the dictionary how to say to wash up, and it will come up with abwaschen. Then we need to look at, and you want to say I. So I means ich, and the verb ending for ich in the regular is I. Because remember, every strong tiger, so I. Then you need to split up the verb and put the prefix, which is up, at the end. So you add the verb ending and then you complete the sentence. So you have ich wasche ab. These are the 4 different steps you have to follow and go through in your head or maybe on a separate piece of paper. So on the left-hand side, you see a table and I've highlighted the prefix in red. So you've got them over here. These are the most common separable verbs. So it may be useful to copy them down or to print it off for you for further revision. Beispiele, examples. I watch TV, ich sehe fern. He calls back tomorrow, ruft morgen zurück. We go shopping every week in town. Wir kaufen jede Woche in der Stadt ein. So, over to you again. You may want to pause the video. Remember, it's house points for you. Pause the video. How do you put those sentences in the right order? These are all separable verbs that are used. So pause the video right now. I'm going to reveal the answers in a second. So, number 1. Der Film fängt 8 Uhr an. So the film starts at 8 o'clock. Nummer 2. Ich ziehe meine Jacke an. So I put on my jacket. Und Nummer 3. Heute Abend geht mein Bruder mit seinen Freunden weg. So, tonight my brother goes out with his friends. So, this is a brief introduction to the present tense. So, you may still have some questions or you may want to look over the video again. So, do use this for further revision and I hope it was useful for you.